Radio's greatest hits.
Where you hear radio the way it used to be.
Ladies and gentlemen, the beat goes on.
Airchecks.com.
For very long at all, we should see some work crews on Route 128 in the Canton area by Route 138. I'm Jack Hart, WBZ 24-hour traffic network.
Now at Dunkin' Donuts, you can get a fresh-made egg and cheese sandwich on our new toasted English muffin for just 99 cents at participating shops through June 27th.
You can run all over town trying to find things for your next party, or you can read the ads in the 9X Yellow Pages. Today we're at the Party Pavilion with Chris Core, who's planning his company picnic.
Hi, Mike.
So, Chris, what company are you with?
Acme Cryogenics.
Cryogenics? You mean where they freeze people?
Oh, we prefer to call it a state of suspended life, Mike.
Well, Chris, of all the party supply stores out there, why'd you choose this one?
Well, Mike, this was the biggest ad I saw, so I figured they'd have everything I needed.
You have a lot of employees.
Just 4, Mike, but we like to invite our clients, too.
Your clients, aren't they? Won't they?
Not if we have plenty of ice, and if you read the ad, you'll see this place delivers ice.
Oh, that's reassuring.
Of course, what really caught my eye was that they have tents. Tents. Think about it, Mike. The sun beating down, no breeze.
Well, it seems as if Chris found everything he needed by reading the ads in the 9X Yellow Pages.
Listen, if you're free next Saturday...
I'm booked. It's surprising what the ads can tell you.
Well, if you change your mind, dress warm and bring mittens, because we'll want to introduce you to the gang.
Check my calendar.
Got a live band. Do you limbo?
WBZ News Time, 11:05. On Wall Street today, the Dow Jones Industrial Averages dropped 21.5 points. They closed at 3510.5. Tonight's winning lottery numbers. The Massachusetts Daily, 9589. Mass Millions, 6, 7, 13, 20, 21, 32. The bonus number, 46. Tri-State Daily numbers, 408 and 3298. Now, the extended WBZ AccuWeather forecast from meteorologist Jay Schulman.
Thanks, Daryl. Variable cloudiness overnight and Wednesday with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm. Low overnight 57. High Wednesday 73 to 78. Sticky on Wednesday night with a shower in spots. Low 67. For Thursday, partly sunny, hot and humid with a chance of an afternoon thunderstorm. High 88. Friday, partly sunny and less humid. High 80. On the Cape on Wednesday, clouds and a shower to start will give way to some sunshine during the afternoon. High 72. I'm WBZ AccuWeather meteorologist Jay Schulman.
Boston temperature is 65, going down overnight to about 57 under some cloudy skies, variable cloudiness, and the possibility of some showers and even a thunderstorm. I'm Darrell Gould, WBZ News Radio 1030.
WBZ News Radio 1030 is committed to bringing you the latest news 24 hours a day. And when we're not reporting the news, we're talking about it. Here's WBZ's David Brudnoy.
We continue our examination of some of the phases with the living of our 72-year history here at WBZ Radio. As you know, WBZ-TV tomorrow celebrates its 45th birthday, and we celebrate our 72nd in this year as well. My colleague Scott Feibusch, who has put the program together, is with me tonight, and we will go in a moment to two people. I'm going to play you a little bit of each of these two men right now and then introduce you to them on WBZ. The first is 21 seconds long, the next is 11 seconds, and then we'll get to these two men, and we'll see if you can guess who they are.
On the Carl DeSuze show, try to get you over the old morning line. The word from our philosopher's handbook. The main objection to the average woman's last word is its distance from her first. The song here by Mr. Gary Crosby for all of you long sufferers.
15 minutes in front of 9 o'clock on WBZ. Jefferson Kaye with you, and Chuck Berry, too. You can do better than that, Chuckles. Go.
Well, there you are. I think you can tell it is, of course, Carl DeSuze himself and Jefferson Kaye himself. And Carl and Jeff, thank you so much for being with us.
Well, it's great to be here, Dave.
It is terrific. Scott Feibusch has found these wonderful little bits of nuggets from your illustrious past, 1961 and 1964, respectively.
I want to know where he got them.
Well, let's ask him.
I have to thank Ed Bruder up in Manchester, New Hampshire. Ed did more than a sterling job for us tonight. He found all of this audio. I guess he has it all up there. He sent me, I've got in front of me biographies, I guess probably from the early 60s from both of you gentlemen, with some very flattering photos, all sorts of materials. So big thanks to Ed Bruder for helping us out tonight.
Well, I certainly would love to see a flattering photo.
You don't need a flattering photo. You're flattered just by reality as it is.
Oh, thank you, Dave.
Yes. No, it's quite true. Gentlemen, I'm going to turn again over to Scott because while I've known Carl for many years, I've never met Jeff Kaye, but I certainly know of his illustrious performance here from 59 to 66. Do I have it right, Jeff?
Yeah, that's pretty good. They had a 57% share when they threw me out.
It's a little, I have been also abandoned here with good ratings, so I've joined good company, but I came back. Scott, go ahead, please.
Well, first of all, we'll start with Jefferson Kaye. I'm looking here at this photo of you, and underneath it, we've got you working here what looks like 7 days a week, Monday through Friday in the afternoons, the Saturday Spectacular, and the Sunday Hootenanny. You were really working 7 days a week here?
Well, actually, we taped the Sunday night show, and that was usually done on Friday afternoon. The Sunday Hootenanny was a Johnny-come-lately. Prior to that, I had worked 6 days a week, but one day my program director, Al Heacock, said to me, let's go over to the Yale Coop. I want you to see something. And we went over to the record shop, and we were there, and some guy came out with a box of records, and they just cut the top off this album case and set it out on the floor. And the kids started scooping up these Joan Baez records.
Yes. Joan Baez. I
Joan
knew her
Baez.
well, right, yeah.
And, that's how much I knew about folk music at the time. And the next thing I knew, I was doing a 2-hour show on Sunday nights, which was taped earlier in the week, which got to be very, very successful. That and my other duties when I first started at BZ, which was doing the all-night show from 11:30 till 6, and having the unsavory duties of having to wake one Carl DeSuze at 4:30 each morning. Particularly after he just crawled in from giving some travel log at 2:30 in the morning.
I should mention here, I also spoke. Dick Summer sent some greetings to both of you, and he could not be with us tonight, but he sent up a tape including some memories of Carl DeSuze waking up in the morning.
I used to do the all-night program at WBZ, and I was on, of course, just before Carl DeSuze. And in many instances, Carl valiantly struggled to get to the radio station on time. But occasionally, sometimes more than occasionally, his valiant efforts were obstructed by the forces of nature, I think is really the only way to put it. And on several occasions which stand out in the history of broadcasting, not only at WBZ, but in the history of broadcasting itself, were those times when Carl's way into the radio station was delayed by an encounter with a cougar, a real one. I'm sure it seemed like it was real at the time.
What a wonderful story. Gentlemen, what do you make of that, Carl? You've had Dick Summer lay you bare here.
It was a mountain lion, and it had the long tail, and it answered all of the criteria for being a mountain lion, even though the Fish and Wildlife and Fish and Game people told me that they hadn't seen one in this part of New England in 40 years. But I saw them not only once crossing Route 2, but also a second time about 2 years later. And people all over had been reporting that because the season had been so dry and so on, that the wild animals didn't get their regular game. These animals, mountain lions, were scooping up pets from the backyard, and even a boy was reported being scared or attacked by this animal out near Worcester. And so we had all these other reports backing up mine, so people didn't think I was a complete nut, but I had actually seen this darn thing cross Route 2 very slowly, and believe me, I slowed up, too.
I bet you did. Gentlemen, let's take some calls with both of our guests, Jefferson Kaye and Carl DeSuze. Our number, 254-1030. Mel, good evening. Thanks for calling BZ.
Hi, David. How are you? Hi, Carl. Hi, Jefferson. Hi, how are you? We used to listen to both of the gentlemen a lot, especially Carl DeSuze put on the morning weather and stuff like that. Very memorable show. It's like an institution in Boston, and especially Jefferson Kaye. I'm 46 years old, and Jefferson Kaye really, besides the current pop tunes of the day, that Sunday night folk music show was unbelievably. It was a Sunday night ritual. Some of the early artists who you play with Buffy St. Marie, the Journeymen, early Joan Baez, that era, Peter, Paul, and Mary. Oh, it really.
Well, I think Jeff put Joan Baez on when she was still a student at BU.
Yeah, she used to sit underneath the tables over at the old Club 47 and strike matches while Pete Seeger sang, and she would be the lone light in the dark there.
That was unbelievable. You were ahead of your time, especially Carl and Jefferson and that type of music. I remember one of the records you influenced me to buy was Simon and Garfunkel came out. They came out the Parsley, Sage, Rosemary, and Thyme album, and it was right around the holiday time. You said, "Here's a cut from the album that they're not going to be playing as a single," and you played it and you said on the one of the most moving pieces that you ever heard in pop music thing. The thing was called 7 O'Clock New Silent Night by Simon and Garfunkel.
Yeah,
I remember saying that.
Remarkable piece of music.
Right, and I tell you, really, both of you influenced me and Carl. And can I ask you, what are you doing now, both you and Carl and you? What are you doing?
Carl, you first.
All right. Well, I'm so-called retired, as I told Dave long ago.
All right.
As soon as your people around you discover you have some free time, they endeavor to take it away from you. But I'm enjoying what I'm doing and trying to keep up with my two girls. One has just graduated from Emerson College with honors and all kinds of things, and is now in the public theater production of Pirates of Penzance, right across from BZ.
Wow.
And because she studied theater. And then my other daughter is on all night on a Haverhill station. So you see, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree.
Wow, that's unbelievable.
Mel, thanks so much.
Okay, can I ask what can you find out?
Sure, let's find out from Jeff Kaye, too.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, David.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank
Good
you
to talk with you, Mel.
Bye now.
Jeff, tell us a little bit about what you're doing these days.
Well, basically, for the last 8 years, I've been making radio and television commercials and films, primarily narration. I think I finally found my calling to use what I've always regarded as a God-given gift. I'm the voice of the National Football League. My primary client is NFL films, and I do about 95% of the work there. As a matter of fact, I did the Patriots highlight film, which the first 8 minutes of which is all about the Giants because of Parcells coming there.
Right.
I do a lot of work for the NBA, for Major League Baseball. I just did some work for the San Diego Padres today. I do all the Phillies commercial activity here in Philadelphia, and I'm doing Cadillac on a national basis, and Papa Gino's Pizza in New England.
Well, you got a great voice. Gentlemen, I've got a break for a moment. We'll come back to Dorothy, who'll be our next caller, with both Carl DeSuze and Jeff Kaye.
It's nice to hear you, Jeff.
Carl, we'll be right back with both of you, and Dorothy will be our first caller, number 254-1030. As we go out into a little commercial break here, let's see out a little bit more of both Jeff Kaye and Carl DeSuze in that order.
24 minutes in front of 9 o'clock on WBZ Radio 103, where the best things in radio are free, by the way. Jefferson Kaye with you, and we'll be here until never. So I hope that you'll stick around with me. Radio 1030, WBZ, WBZA, FM, Westinghouse in Boston and Springfield. Stand by for news first, fast, and factual from the WBZ News Center.
From WBZ News, Boston's most complete radio news service, here is a 7 a.m. special report. This is Dick Levitan reporting for Boston Federal Savings and Loan Association, 30 Federal Street, Boston. The Massachusetts Turnpike Authority may make another attempt to sell $175 million worth of its bonds. They would be used for construction of its toll road extension into Boston. There are reports that Turnpike Chairman William Cal...
Your Bryant air conditioning dealer has 3 great free reasons why you should call 1-800-3-BRYANT to beat this summer's heat and humidity while also helping to alleviate your family's allergy discomfort. Reason 1, your Bryant dealer is offering a free 5-year warranty on parts and labor on all Bryant equipment. This free warranty will assure you worry-free operation. Reason 2, a free home inspection of your existing central air conditioning system. And reason 3, free 5 financing for 6 months. Financing offer based on 17.88 APR. Offer valid to qualified credit applicants. Residential applications only. Limited time offer at participating dealers only. A Bryant air conditioning system will cool and reduce the humidity in your home and help alleviate your family's allergy and respiratory problems by reducing dust and pollen circulating throughout your home. So call 1-800-3-BRYANT today. That's 1-800-3-BRYANT. Is it possible to get all the goodness of garlic without the odor? This man found a way. Listen.
I'm Frank Lager. I've heard a lot of good stories about garlic, what garlic can do for you. My wife's been cooking with garlic. We love the taste of it, but I have to deal with a lot of people in my business. And if I've had raw garlic, and I know that raw garlic is much better for you than if you cook it, I don't think my friends or my business associates appreciate the fact that I've had garlic the night before. I've been looking for a way to get the goodness of garlic without having garlic breath. And I found Quai. Quai's little tablets are terrific. They're real small, easy to take, no problem swallowing them, and I get no aftertaste. I don't sense that I'm taking garlic, but I know that I'm getting what garlic can give me. As much as I love the taste of garlic, I sure don't want my friends to know that I've been having garlic all the time. I find that Quai's a real good idea.
Now at Walgreens, you can get all the goodness of garlic with Quai. K-W-A-I. Quai. Available at all Walgreens.
Sometimes my parents surprise me. Well, like I was talking about how I want to fix up my house, and Dad asks if I've thought about what it costs to heat a home. What about energy costs for hot water, he says. And then he starts listing everything I own that uses energy. Well, I get the message, I said, but you can't do anything about how much you spend on energy. Well, Mom steps in and says, yes, you can, if you get a Mass Save Survey Plus. What's a Survey Plus, I asked. Survey Plus is a home energy survey that shows you how and where to cut energy costs. Mass Save installed a hot water tank wrap for Mom and Dad and gave them information about services to help them make energy home improvements. When they told me there was no fee, I couldn't think of a reason not to get one. Mom and Dad were right. I not only learned about energy costs, I'm controlling them.
Mass Save wants to help you control your energy costs. Call 1-800-632-8300 and request your Survey Plus. That's 1-800-632-8300. Sponsored by your electric and gas utilities.
Look what I've got, Jeff.
Oh, the certificate from Baybank guaranteeing our loan amount. That was fast.
Yeah, well, now we know exactly how much we can spend before we go house hunting. Oh, you better call the movers, Jeff.
The movers?
Yes, we've got a lot to do.
Sarah, once we find a house, the paperwork will take forever.
Oh, no, not with Baybank. They promise that we can close when we need to close. Oh, look, we also need to call the gas company,
At Baybank, we'll guarantee your loan amount in advance. And with our new streamlined application process, home buyers can close on their mortgage when they want to, even if it's less than 4 weeks. So you'll move into your new house fast.
Who are you calling?
Hello, JD Moving?
Plus, Baybank mortgage specialists make buying your house easy by guiding you throughout the entire home financing process. All this from a bank that offers some of the lowest rates around.
Moving? Well, we're not exactly sure, but it'll be soon. You see, we have a Baybank mortgage. Oh, we'll need a lot of
Low
boxes.
rates and fast service make Baybank the #1 mortgage lender in Massachusetts. Apply at a Baybank office today or call 1-800-BAY-FAST to talk to a mortgage specialist. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
This Tuesday morning started off a little strange. Everyone trying to find the mayor. We eventually found him in Washington. This is WBZ's Gary Lapierre. Sometimes the news comes to us, and other times we got to chase it. And today, it's the latter. We're trying to find out what energy taxes and budget cuts the president is agreeing to. Senator Mitchell isn't saying.
Final numbers have not been resolved and won't be resolved at this time.
To follow this one, we have to start early and stay late. That's precisely what happens with WBZ's Morning News on New England's station for news. WBZ News Radio 1030.
Stand up, stand down, fun things happen in Boston town. WBZ Radio 103. Let's go with the light and lively sound. WBZ Radio 103.
Those are from 1967 and 1965, respectively. Scott Feibush and I continue with Carl DeSuze and Jeff Kaye and Dorothy. Thank you for calling, Jeff and Carl, and Scott and me. Go ahead.
Hello.
Hello, is that Dorothy?
Yeah, I'm here.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Yeah, Mr. DeSuze?
Yes.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Enough of that.
I can just barely hear you. I don't know whether I've got the old-fashioned phone, I suppose.
So
but
do I.
Go right ahead.
Around the 60s to 70s, did you run a contest about who was the greatest man in the world? Do you happen to remember?
I don't remember that particular contest. We had tons of promotions, you know.
Oh.
So that was one of them, probably. What did you want to ask me about it?
I think we sort of lost Dorothy, I fear. Let's move ahead, if we might. Paul, good evening, Paul. Hello, Paul.
Hello, how are you tonight, Carl?
I'm in great shape, thank you.
Jefferson Kaye, how are you?
I'm fine, sir. How about yourself?
Good. For those of your listeners who may not remember, I'm Paul Gio Frio, who was general manager of WBZ-TV.
God bless you.
1958 to 1964.
You know, Mr. O'Frio?
Yes.
I don't know if you recall this, but when I first started working at WBZ, I was working the all-night show from 11:30 until 6 in the morning.
Yes, I remember.
And I noticed one day that you came in every morning at about 7 o'clock. And I thought to myself, I found out who you were, because the nighttime people were kind of removed from the general flow of things. And I thought, I've got to make an impression on this man. So I used to get off the air at 6 o'clock or whenever Carl showed up, and I'd go to the men's room, and I'd clean up, and I'd change my shirt, and I'd grab a bag of, or a box of albums, and I'd stand by the door and wait for you to come through. And when you'd come through, I'd almost knock you over. And in 6 months, I was off the all-night show and on afternoons, and I think I have you to thank for that.
Well,
how are you?
The good job you did, J.K., and especially that Sunday night show, too.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun to do. And you remember
I think we all have fond memories of Al Heacock, who went on to be general manager at
KDKA,
in New York, and KDKA Radio in Pittsburgh.
Yes, of course.
And
well, I have some fond memories of you, Paul. The weekend I spent with you and your family in Pittsburgh.
Yes,
I guess it was. I flew there through a snowstorm, and that's a very picturesque part of the city that you, the suburbs that you live in. All of which reminded me of the premier artist of the town and his whole family.
Well, and I have a sketch that you made. When you stayed an extra day, I was a great excuse for you to get a day off. Because you didn't come back, you see, because we had a snowstorm in Pittsburgh where I was general manager of KDK-TV.
Well, I hope, do you still have that sketch?
Yes, we still have it.
Oh, great. Well, hold on to it.
We're going to sell it
one day it'll be worth money.
I'm sure it will be.
Scott, do you have something you'd like to throw into the hopper here? You don't know Paul, and I don't know Paul, but I've gathered these two guys know him very well.
Well, Paul was my first general manager at KDKA-TV and or at WBZ rather, and
well, Paul was one of the better of the 32 managers I had.
Thank you, Carl. You always did say the nicest things.
And it's probably true, also knowing some of the people Carl has worked for. Anyway, Paul, thank you so much.
Well, Paul, I want to thank you again. You always invite me to Patriots Day to watch the marathon from your house, but I'm performing duties here in Concord, you know. I'm the public narrator with a tricon on my head down at the bridge, interpreting the fight there to inform the people as to who's really going to win this fight.
Paul, thank you again, sir.
You're welcome. Good to talk with you,
and good night. We'll be continuing with Carl DeSuze and Jefferson Kaye in the second half hour of this final hour of tonight's program. Scott Feibusch and I, Jones, stay on the line. We'll get to you shortly here on WBZ.
All New England singing, everybody swinging to the bright, exciting sound in Boston. WBZ 103 WBZ.
Hi, everybody. This is Dave Maynard with exciting news from the Wanderlust Travel Club. We're giving you a chance to do something everybody has wanted to do, and that's sail to Bermuda at a price you can afford. On September 19th, we'll be sailing on the beautiful SS Meridian, and for as little as $895 per person, double occupancy, you can go with us. 7 nights from celebrity cruise lines, beautiful staterooms carpeted throughout, a full bath, air conditioning, and so much to do when you're on board. Of course, we'll have nightclub shows and live bands and discos. There's a full casino, too. And if you're the athletic type, we have gymnasiums, and there's swimming, and there's all kinds of things you can do, including trotting around the deck. But it's going to be fun for an awful lot of people. Duty-free shopping on board, too. Want to go to Bermuda? September 19th, $895. Call Caitlin Travel, 862-6229. 862-6229.
Hey, you got any sevens?
Goldfish.
Hey, guys, look sharp. It's a customer.
Wow, it's a house painter. Hey, Phil, is my label on straight?
I'll keep your lid on, Manny. Quiet. Here he comes. Take me. Please. Take me.
Oh, I should have known. He's grabbing another gallon of California paint.
California paint?
Ah, you must be new here, kid. California Paint's been making premium quality paints for over 65 years. We kids in the other brands sit here day after day watching all that California paint fly right out of here.
What do they have that we don't have?
Oh, it's your advanced Formula 100% acrylic latex interior and exterior paint.
So,
California's premium paints are all 100% acrylic latex. Oh, look, Manny, that California paint gets to ride on the paint shaker. I'd give anything to ride on the paint shaker.
And another gallon of California paint is out the door. Why couldn't that have been me? You know, I could have been a great paint. I could have been a contender.
Ah, whatever you say, Manny. Any threes?
Ah, go fish.
Look for the California paint dealer nearest you in the 9X Yellow Pages.
For the stories you'll talk about all day, listen at 25 past the hour every weekday morning for Dave Maynard's The Other Side, only on WBZ News Radio 1030.
It's 11:30, Boston temperature 65. WBZ AccuWeather meteorologist Jay Schuler is calling for variable cloudiness, a possibility of some showers, perhaps a thunderstorm, the low temperature 57. Then tomorrow, clouds with some showers and possible thunderstorms, the high temperature 73 to 78. I'm Darrell Gould, WBZ News. The polls are closing this hour in Los Angeles, where voters have been electing a new mayor. Either City Councilor Michael Wu or businessman Richard Reardon will be replacing retiring Mayor Tom Bradley, who's been in office for more than 20 years. The energy tax, based on the heat content of fuels, or BTUs, is out. Treasury Secretary Lloyd Bentsen said in an interview on the McNeil-Lehrer report tonight that the administration will instead be pursuing an energy tax that's broad-based and encourages conservation. Nebraska is the third state this year to pass a bill that requires a waiting period before an abortion. The bill, passed by the state legislature today, also requires women to receive information about fetal development and abortion alternatives before the procedure is done. Well, Boston Mayor Ray Flynn made his trip to Washington today, and he got the reassurance he wanted that his job as ambassador to the Vatican will be more than just a ceremonial position, that it will also include a sort of ambassador-at-large position so that he can deal with troubles in other parts of the world. Now that the mayor has decided he wants that job again, then all those 6 people who have announced up till now that they want to run in the special election to succeed him this fall can start campaigning once again. The state Supreme Court has ruled former insurance commissioner Kay Dowdy used some wrong math when she determined the auto insurance rates last year. So they've ordered a refiguring of how much more cash the insurance companies could have saved had they cracked down more on bogus personal injury claims. It's estimated the Supreme Court decision will cost the average Massachusetts motorist about an extra $10 on this year's policy. The legislature's Committee on Criminal Justice gave a favorable report to a bill that would do away with the so-called good time that allows convicts to get out much earlier than what their sentences called for. The Truth in Sentencing bill, supported by the committee, also calls for creation of a special commission to advise judges on sentencing. The Crown Prince of Japan is no longer a single man. Naruhito has wed commoner Matsuka Owada in a traditional Japanese ceremony attended by a few officials. Tradition does not allow the families of the newlyweds to watch the exchanging of vows. WBZ News Time is 11:33. That's time for traffic on the threes with WBZ's Jack Hart.
Well, thank you, Darrell. We are dealing still with some delays inbound on Storrow Drive as you approach Storrow Tunnel. Work crews set up there until about 5 o'clock in the morning, so you can expect some pretty good delays. Northbound on the Central Artery by Causeway Street, some other short delays to watch out for. More work crews still. Route 1 heading northbound through the Saugus area by Cappy's Liquors. Things a little bit tight through there right now. Before long, we'll see work crews set up in the Callahan Tunnel. They'll shut that down and create two-way traffic in the Sumner Tunnel. That'll be in effect until 5:30, and we're still waiting word on the setup of work crews on Route 128 in the Canton area. I'm Jack Hart, WBZ 24-Hour Traffic Network.
We had just bought a brand new Cutlass Sierra. After all, our kids are grown up, haven't even asked to borrow from the old mom and pop savings and loan lately. So we figured, great, at last, just the two of us cruising down the highway of life. Then we realized we were missing something. The grandkids. We couldn't fit all of them in our Sierra, but luckily, we had a solution.
Guaranteed satisfaction. Just one part of the Oldsmobile Edge. The most complete commitment to owner satisfaction in the industry.
Our dealer let us exchange our Sierra and gave us full credit towards another new Oldsmobile, a Silhouette minivan. No questions asked. It's a true story. You know, there's a difference in car companies today. Oldsmobile has the edge.
It's guaranteeing your satisfaction for 30 days or 1,500 miles, whichever comes first. It's the confidence that comes standard at no extra cost with every new Oldsmobile. Call 1-800-524-EDGE for a free brochure or see your dealer for details. The Oldsmobile Edge. Complete owner care from the power of intelligent engineering.
WBZ News Time, 11:35. In sports, Cleveland beat the Red Sox tonight 5-4. On Wall Street today, the Dow Jones Industrial Average dropped 21.5 points, closed at 35.10.5. Now, the extended WBZ AccuWeather forecast. Here's meteorologist Jay Schulman.
Well, Darrell, it will be partly to mostly cloudy overnight and Wednesday with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm, low overnight 57. Wednesday's high 73 to 78. Muggy Wednesday night with a shower in a few locations, low 67. For Thursday, a mixture of clouds and sunshine, hot and humid with a chance of an afternoon thunderstorm, high 88. Looking ahead to Friday, partly sunny and less humid, high 80. Out on the Cape on Wednesday, clouds and a shower to start, then some sunshine for the afternoon, high 72. I'm WBZ AccuWeather meteorologist Jay Schulman.
Boston temperature 64. It'll be going down tonight to about 57 as we have variable cloudiness and a few showers, possibly a thunder shower moving in. I'm Darrell Gould, WBZ News Radio 1030.
We continue our look at WBZ's long and glorious history with two of its most glorious, Carl DeSuze and Jeff Kaye. My colleague, news writer Scott Feibush, joins me tonight with our guests, and we'll get to our calls right now. Joan, good evening. You're on with Jeff and Carl and Scott and me. Hello.
Well, good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
This is sort of a personal call. Carl?
Yes.
Do you know who this is?
I didn't hear the name.
It's Joan. You and your wife and my mother, Margarita, and I used to have drinks together on Lime Street.
Oh, of course.
Remember?
Johnny. My heavens, how nice to hear your voice again.
Well, it was back in the 40s.
Sure.
How are you?
Well, I'm living, taking nourishment, and answering the phone.
Oh, Carl, it's so wonderful to hear your voice, and I'm a very ardent BZ radio fan. I don't call in too much, but I listen all the time.
Where are you these days?
Well, I beg your pardon?
Where are you living?
At the River House.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I've been here for 29 years.
How marvelous.
Well, listen, if you're ever in town, drop by.
Well, Joni, thank you for calling. Gee, you really bring a lot of wonderful memories.
I know.
back.
It's nostalgia personified.
I had marvelous parties on that street when it was full of writers and artists and photographers.
And we all had such a happy time together.
That's right. Nobody in those days even locked their doors.
I know it.
We had it was a continuous round of visits and great discussions.
Well, I'll tell you, it was at 2A Lime Street that I was listening to BZ. I'm sure it was BZ. And the announcement came through that the Germans had marched into Paris.
Oh, yes.
And I'll never forget it.
Oh, me neither.
Well,
Since I had
listen,
relatives
honey,
over there, I knew what that meant.
take good care of yourself. and my love to your family.
Thank you so much, Joni, and it's so great to hear from you again.
Okay, honey. And David and all, thank you so much for letting us talk.
That's great.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye. We'll get to Fred in a moment on WBZ right after this.
The big bright sound of 63 WBZ.
Sandy, jump in. Sears has all mattresses on sale. Let's motor. All sizes, all brands, plus you'll save an extra 10%. Hunt it. The Spring Air Dreamer's just $68.49 for twin-size piece. Burn rubber. Plus great values on special purchase and closeout items. Put the pedal to the metal.
Save an extra 10% on sale mattresses through June 19th at Home Life Furniture in most Sears stores.
You can count on me, Sears, Roebuck and Company.
If you have an ulcer and are taking a prescription ulcer medicine, the makers of Riopan Plus 2 have some soothing news. During treatment with a prescription ulcer medication, many doctors recommend taking an antacid like Riopan Plus 2 to relieve heartburn, indigestion, and gas. Be certain to ask your doctor about when to take Riopan Plus 2. Teaspoon for teaspoon, nothing has more antacid strength. Riopan Plus 2. It's good advice for bad heartburn, indigestion, and gas. Use only as directed.
I'm not sure when the excitement started, when I made the first call, when we met, or when I finally saw my own hair growing again. But then I knew baldness was a part of my past. And if your hair is thinning or you're bald, you know how exciting that had to be. Sure, some guys say, I'm bald and I love it. But if you're like I was, being bald wasn't my choice. I just didn't know what to do about it. Then I found the physicians at the Puig Medical Group. The Puig Medical Group has taken 20 years of hair transplant experience and developed a new technique called line grafting. Line grafting allows the doctors to sculpture your hairline and provide a full thickness with your own natural hair growing just like before. Believe me, if baldness or thinning hair is bothering you, it's your life. Why not look and feel the way you want to? Find out more. Call the Puig Medical Group for your free video and information kit. Call 1-800-272-2202. 1-800-272-2202.
Get your Irish up with WBZ and the Irish Cultural Center at Festival 93 at Stonehill College, June 11th through the 13th. Enjoy Irish musicians, singers, dancers, craftspeople, and much more. It's a 3-day celebration of Irish culture at its finest. Join Dave Maynard as he broadcasts live from Festival 93 on Sunday, June 13th from noon to 6. That's Festival 93 at Stonehill College, June 11th through the 13th from the Irish Cultural Center and WBZ News Radio 1030.
Easy time 11:41 to Fred and Ken right after this. My colleague Scott Feibush has a question for Carl DeSuze, I think, or Jeff Kaye. Scott, please.
Well, mostly for Carl. Of everybody that we've had on here tonight, I think, Carl, you go back the furthest with WBZ Radio back, if I'm
44 years.
If I'm calculating this correctly, back to the early 40s. Now, that was before television, before we were out here on Soldiers Field Road in Brighton.
Well, television actually started when I was still on the 5th floor of the Hotel Bradford, and our first studio was actually in the old packing room off of the offices that were on the other side of our two big studios that people used to come and watch the broadcast in, especially the Marjorie Mills Hour. And by the way, incidentally, I'm reminded that I had done my morning show one year when there was a big storm. The fact that we have been talking about the Worcester hurricane and so on recently. This particular hurricane was pretty bad, but I'd done the morning show, and I had some dental work that had to be done. So between the morning show, when I got off at 10 o'clock, I had to come back for the 12:30 network program with Marjorie Mills and broadcast that. But between that time, I'd gone into Boston, and by the time I got out of the dentist chair, the wind was really wild. And all the way back from Boston to our studios on Soldiers Field Road, tree limbs kept flying over my head. In fact, one of them took off my side view mirror. And then as I got into the parking lot, I looked up at our television tower, and it was prescribing a parabola, and it suddenly began to fall right toward me as I came up the back steps.
Carl, let me play something for you. We played at the beginning of the program, but Scott got this wonderful piece of tape, as it were, created this, and I think you'll enjoy this, and we'll come back to you, but I want you to hear this because it's going to bring back that memory as vividly as anything you could imagine.
Once again, we'll repeat that message from Governor Herter. He has issued a call to all residents of Massachusetts to stay in their homes. Stay in your homes wherever possible. And let me know if I'm still on the air, will you please? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Am I still on the air? I assume that I'm still on the air. The WBZ television tower, a 680-foot steel constructed tower, has just fallen down. I don't know exactly where it has landed. It has landed out across our building and is out in front of our street on Soldiers Field Road.
Now, Carl.
Yes.
What do you make of that?
Well, as the tower came, as I came in, the tower was falling toward me, and I just made it inside the door. That was Kenny Meyer, who was talking on, doing the news,
right.
And I was rushing in to do the Marjorie Mills show, and the back hall was rushing with water up to your ankles almost. I don't know where that came from, probably a pipe, because that tower had laid right across the building and smashed typewriters even up on the second floor. And the top of the tower was in the Metropolitan driving track where the public theater is now. And the part of the tower had landed on a motor car that it was parked in front of the station, and it lay right on the car's horn. So there was this mournful wail of the horn coming through the windows. And suddenly the chief engineer rushed up to me, handed me a mic, and he said, "We've just got the auxiliary power on," and he said, "Talk." And I just come from the dentist, and half my face was frozen with Novocaine. And I said, "Well, I'm not really that scared," but I said, "I can hardly talk because half my face is frozen."
Oh, my Lord.
You know, there are so many of our memories that related to WBZ. I know mine in particular that relate back to both natural and man-made disasters. I recall when Gary LaPierre was my newsman in the afternoon of the great Northeast blackout.
Oh,
and how the two of us rushed down to the Prudential Tower, which was then the tallest building in Boston, and helped people down the stairs because all of the elevators had been closed down. And of course, Dick Levitan was on duty in the afternoon one day when the Thresher went down off of Portsmouth.
Oh,
and that
boy.
Awful day when Streeter Stewart came in and announced that John F. Kennedy had been shot and killed in Dallas. And,
yes.
As odd as it may seem, and it may seem a very macabre thing to say, but if you were to be any place when that event occurred, it was Boston.
It certainly was.
You know, because the city just came to a complete standstill. It was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. I guess so all of our careers are marked by incidents like that that bring great natural feeling from the populace and just kind of weld people together.
Let me tell you a funny story, odd story. I was in Korean class at Harvard Graduate School, and somebody came in and said, President Kennedy has just been shot and killed. And we all paused, and he said, "No, the conjugation of the verb to do," or whatever. When we went on during Korean, I mean, it was like we didn't absorb it. We just went on with the Korean class.
It's very interesting because in radio, you at the time, I know we were very, very seldom prepared for something like that. I had a hard rock Chuck Berry record ready to play. And Streeter came in and made that announcement and then bolted from the studio to check the wire services again. It was before the building had gotten organized and prepared to deal with that kind of a situation. And I was stuck in there, with nothing to do and certainly nothing to say. It was just one of the most awful moments of my life in broadcasting.
Well, Jeff, Paulo Frio sent me out to take impressions from people walking around the Common. So I went down there, and all of those collected impressions I got from and reactions from people, some of them people with bawling almost. Telling, how much they love the president and whatnot. And it was one of the most sorrowful pieces of recording that I have ever made in my life. So I remember that day vividly.
Gentlemen, we're going to take some calls. Let's move ahead now. Fred, good evening on WBZ with Carl DeSuze and Jefferson Kaye and Scott Feibush. Go ahead.
Yes, it's a pleasure to hear from all of you and to hear things like 30-year-old jingles.
Yeah, I know. Isn't it weird?
They're awful, aren't they?
Yeah.
It seems to me, first of all, Carl, are you sure that big wind that you encountered, wasn't that Hurricane Carol in 54?
Yes, I think that was it.
Yeah, that was it, yeah.
Why did BZ move out there to Soldiers Field Road?
Well, we hadn't been out there too long, I know that.
Okay. It seems to me the burden of the program so far this evening has been memories of the early 60s. Perhaps you could tell me in the audience what your show was like from the beginning down to the early 60s.
Great question. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Gentlemen?
Which one first? Why don't you go, Jeff?
Well, Jeff, I remember your show, but I remember it vividly. But Carl, since you go back before I do, perhaps you can enlighten some of us youngsters.
Well, I'll never forget, for one thing, when we were still on the 5th floor of the Hotel Bradford.
Yes.
Since we had no, the kind of pickups that are available to us now, and when I did the John F. Kennedy tape, I used a small tape recorder to go and get those impressions on the Common.
Right.
But at the time that the war ended, the VJ Day,
yes,
I'll never forget that. We opened up the window on the 5th floor. Somebody held onto my legs, and I sat on the windowsill, looked out, and tried to tell people on the air what I was seeing as people were celebrating in the streets. That was how we first did our immediate kinds of reports. And we were still up there on the 5th floor when that happened.
I wonder if the noise from that crowd in 1945 was louder than the noise of the Beatles bands in 1964.
and by the way, I'll never forget, we had the Army band from one of the local camps here, doing a noontime program when it was announced that Roosevelt had died. And we were on the air at that point, and I had to tell people, what had happened. The news came hot off the teletype in those days.
Carl, didn't you report the assassination of Lincoln also?
Yes, I know. I feel as if I go back to that.
Listen, let me tell you something. When Carl was announcing the fact that Roosevelt has died, I was a little kid listening to the Green Hornet at the time that they broke in with the bulletin.
It's amazing. I should mention this. I see Carl on rare occasions, but he never ages. I don't know what it is you do, Carl. It may be the ascots or something.
I tell you what, the first time I ever saw Carl DeSuze was he came in late for a morning shift, and he came sweeping through the door in this beautiful Chesterfield coat with a velvet collar that was draped over his shoulders. Carl never put his arm into a sleeve to save his life. He was wearing a Harris tweed jacket, a Tattersall vest, a yellow ascot, and a beautiful Bavarian hat with a long sweeping feather. And he said, "Sorry, dear boy."
And now morning men look like Charles Lockwood. We're going to take a break for a moment. We'll get to Ken after this. Thanks, Fred.
Yes,
thanks very much.
Wonderful music, news you bet. Here at the center of the dial you get the bright, exciting sound of tomorrow on WBZ.
It better be smooth. It's gotta taste great. I want it to be delicious, darling. It better be Colombo. It's gotta taste terrific. So let me be specific. The thrill of the chill holds the key between you and me. It better be Colombo.
Better be Columbo frozen yogurt, but how do you choose? Because Columbo frozen yogurt comes 3 delicious ways. Creamy, chunky gourmet with rich, indulgent mix-ins. Low-fat shop style with a soft, silky texture. And slender scoops with not a single gram of fat. All of them absolutely irresistible. All of them in your grocer's freezer. Better make up your mind.
Between you and me, it better be Columbo.
Columbo Gourmet, Shop Style, and Slender Scoops frozen yogurt in your grocer's freezer.
Jordan Marsh one-day sale. Wednesday only, store-wide. It's the one you wait for. The one for everyone. Men, women, kids. Home. The one day to save 25 to 50% on every floor. Every store. Everywhere you look. Wednesday only. Jordan Marsh one-day sale, store-wide. The one with sales, specials, buys, breaks. Thousands of men's short-sleeve dress shirts, $17.99. All men's $225 suits, $99.99. Wednesday only. The one. Jordan Marsh one-day sale, store-wide. Terrific.
Dear Johnson Drug, I can't tell you how refreshing it is to go to a pharmacy that makes me feel like a person, not a number. Just recently, when I...
Johnson Drug in Waltham remembers the days when a pharmacist took the time to know you, and not just your prescription number, when a drugstore was part of the community, local, friendly, and attentive to your needs. Today, most drugstores are part of big chains that usher people through like an assembly line. That's why owners Stephen and Diane Bernardi want to make Johnson Drug your community drugstore. Johnson Drug specializes in fertility drugs and carry a complete line of injectable drugs, including hard-to-find vaccines. Johnson Drug also accepts WIC for baby formula and will fill your Medex prescription and process your forms for you. Johnson Drug is open 365 days a year. Johnson Drug will be moving this month a few doors down from their present location opposite Waltham City Hall, and they look forward to serving you in their new location.
Sandy, jump in. Sears has all mattresses on sale. Let's motor. All sizes, all brands, plus you'll save an extra 10%. Punch it. The Spring Air Dreamer's just $68.49 for twin-size piece. Burn rubber. Plus great values on special purchase and closeout items. Put the pedal to the metal.
Save an extra 10% on sale mattresses through June 19th at Home Life Furniture and most Sears stores.
You can count on me. Sears, Roebuck and Company.
It's Willard Scott. The Riopan Heartburn Helpline's on fire.
So's my stomach, Willard. I've got burning indigestion and heartburn.
When it can't get any worse, teaspoon per teaspoon, nothing has more antacid strength than Riopan Plus 2.
Thanks, Willard.
Dual-action double-strength Riopan Plus 2 works 2 ways. It relieves heartburn, it relieves gas.
Riopan Plus 2. It's my advice for your really bad heartburn, indigestion, and gas.
Use as directed.
A sound that's new. New for us. And new for you. It's New Radio in New England. WBZ Boston Plus. WBZA Springfield.
We're at the end. Carl DeSuze and Jeff Kaye, we've got about 20 seconds from each of you. Words of wisdom to Scott and me and our WBZ audience, please.
Well, I would say hang tough. I mean, you can always make a comeback, but you can only work at BZ one time. That was a great experience.
Those were the glory days, Jeff.
They sure were.
It's great to hear your voice and to hear Darrell Gould, our old colleague, is still there doing the news.
Absolutely.
And Alan Derry's story about Streeter just brought so many wonderful memories into focus, and I want to thank David Brudnoy for bringing us back again
and
together.
And Scott Feibusch, who brought us
life, as it were.
Carl, you will outlive us all. Carl and Jeff, thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Pleasure.
Good night, gentlemen.
Wonderful time.
Thank you very much. Scott Feibusch has some final thoughts here, and you've got about 40 seconds for finality, Scott.
All right, thanks, first of all, to everybody who's been with us tonight, everybody who helped us out, and to everybody who we just couldn't fit on tonight. There are so many people out there. We're still looking for Bruce Bradley. If anybody knows where to find him, please let us know. He seems to have vanished from us. And I just want to remind everyone also that I do this radio history bit every month on the Spectrum program, which can be heard over shortwave at 7.435 megahertz Saturday nights, 11:35 p.m. Eastern Time, and that's starting this Saturday night.
Scott, I want to say, because you're too modest to say it, that this entire program really was produced by Scott. I just pushed the buttons and said hello. Scott got all these tapes from his man up in New Hampshire, who provided him some of the other things he gathered together. He talked with Mary Zapula and Pat Randall here, who helped him get a sense of us old-timers, and we talked with a great many of them, and Scott's been a terrific job that you did. I really thank you for it. It's made this evening
Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
And it will be a fair rival to tomorrow's BZ-TV program on the 45th anniversary of our beloved sister station, WBZ Television. And that's it. Also, thanks, of course, to our producers, Rick Duarte and Kevin Myron, who, of course, see Scott every day, and we razz him on being the youngest person in the building, which is, I suppose, fair, since I'm about the oldest now at 73. And that's about it. I'll be back with you tomorrow night. Bob Raleigh, who's been around for a fair number of years, came here 17 years ago, or 18, just as I went to another station beginning with W, he left. I don't think it was I who drove him out, but in any case, Bob will be coming up in a few minutes, and I'm sure Bob has been listening to this program as he drove in and got himself into his studio. Again, thank you very much, Scott, for it. I loved doing this with you. It was wonderful, and we'll do it again. WBZ Boston, the spirit of New England. Group W Radio, a Westinghouse broadcasting station. The time is exactly midnight.
Stand by for news. First, fast, and factual from the WBZ News Center.
Your number one for classic radio listening, airchecks.com.